What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow based off what the charts are showing and based off what the data is suggesting. It's also very important to note that tomorrow is the last full day we have before the CPI report comes out in the morning on Wednesday. So it's going to be very important for tomorrow. And I do want to talk about what previous trends are basically suggesting for Tesla and the market as well. I'm also going to talk about some good pieces of news coming out from Elon Musk, the man, the myth, the legend himself, because he did tweet about the fact that Tesla's deliveries still look very optimistic for the year, and I too am very optimistic as well. Now, before I break anything down about Elon Musk, before I talk about what's going on with the share price of Tesla, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. And not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,500. And you can always sell these 12 free stocks for cash and use the cash to buy some Tesla shares for free. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 7 days, so please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So overall, Tesla did not have the best of days. It did push up pretty nicely from the very beginning, and it actually did not do what I thought it would from the very beginning. But then we did see that very bearish move like I was anticipating a little bit later throughout the day. So Tesla pushed up to about 916, almost $916 a share, got a big rejection off that, and the entire market followed a very similar trend. And then we did start to see the the bears kind of like gain a bit of an edge. And I do think we're going to see a continuation of this downside going into tomorrow. So why on earth is the market going to turn red most likely? Well, it's mainly because of this. So we have CPI and PPI coming out over the next couple of days. On Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, that's when CPI is going to be coming out. This is super important for the markets because remember, the last CPI report that came out was for the month of June, and we saw this thing explode to a very high level, and the market was not necessarily in the best state because of that. It's not good for our economy. So Elon Musk did theorize that he believes inflation is now going to start to trend down, and that's going to be a very good sign for the markets going forward, but we can't fully confirm this until we get the data. So tomorrow is going to be the first day for us to really, not tomorrow, I'm sorry, Wednesday is going to be the first day where we find out, is it going to trend down? I'm going to go into more details about expectations and all that for tomorrow, but just to remind you guys, on the 10th, which is going to be Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, it's coming out. So tomorrow is the last day for the market to actually kind of price this in and be prepared for it until it comes out, because it's coming out before the market opens on Wednesday. So this is important because there's uncertainty. We're not 100% certain about what the CPI report is going to be. And because the market does not like uncertainty, it's very likely we're going to take a bit of a hit because of that. Now, as jobs reports are coming out, they have been beating expectations for the month of July. So with CPI now coming out and job reports being very strong, it's indicative that the market is actually doing a little bit better than some people would have wanted it to do. And the Fed is in this mess right now where they're trying to keep the market afloat in a way. They're trying to stop jobs from being lost, but they're simultaneously having to do the opposite by raising the federal funds rate to actually bring down inflation. So the Fed is kind of in the middle right now, but we're starting to see some signs that the market's getting ready for a more aggressive Fed in September after we had that strong jobs report. It's now showing that a 75 to 100 basis point rate hike seems a lot more likely now than it just being at 50. And this is going to be very important because the Fed being more hawkish may lead to some downside for the month of September. Now, we're not necessarily there yet, and I don't think the whole market's just going to like crash from here. I still think the market has some room to kind of be okay if CPI does actually come out a lot better than expected, which is actually very likely seeing how energy prices did end up dropping and how big of a section energy is in CPI. So with that said, for the short term, I'm a little bit bearish. I'm more bearish for the markets and Tesla just for like tomorrow. But after Wednesday, the CPI could actually flip that and we could actually turn a little bullish after that. Tesla does have this gap all the way up here. It is still very possible for Tesla to fill this gap relatively soon around the 920 range because we do have the stock split in just a couple of weeks. Once again, if you don't remember, it's going to be on Friday August 17th, that's the last day you could be holding a Tesla share to be a part of this stock split. And I am going to make another video about this a little bit later to give you guys a more in-depth analysis of it. But after trading closes on August 24th, meaning starting on August 25th, that's when Tesla's going to price in the stock split. And I do expect some better price action after that, or I find that a lot more likely. Now, until then, right, we're not necessarily ready for August 17th or August 24th just yet. And because of that, it does seem more indicative that Tesla is going to be dropping relatively soon. So just to give you guys some context, let's actually look at the SPY real quick. You guys can notice, I mentioned this in a previous video. Let me actually pull up my EMAs. If you look at the daily chart on SPY, you could see the SPY was pushing up. It was trying to break out of these EMAs right here. It went as high as 417 bucks a share, which is not bad, but we got a rejection after trying to break the 200 EMA. So we didn't get a clean break out of it just yet, and we are starting to drop from here. And it does look like we could see the SPY test the 410 range very, very soon, and maybe come as low as 408, 409 to actually fill the gap down here. But is that most likely going to happen that quickly? I mean, I can't guarantee it. It just seems more likely it is going to come down because of the CPI report, because right now we're very uncertain about what's going to happen. And typically, historically, before CPI comes out, the market tends to drop the day before. So historically, that is what tends to happen. And I am anticipating a red day for not just SPY, but also for the NASDAQ and the overall market. And that is going to affect Tesla as well. The NASDAQ was also kind of red, and we do have some indicators out there that it's going to continue to drop as well. So anyways, how may this end up affecting Tesla? And this is where things become very important. So let's close the EMAs real quick. Let me just show you what the key support and resistance levels are. So what you'll notice is that Tesla made a lower high relative to before, and that's not necessarily the best of signs. So Tesla was trading in this range right here. I actually highlighted the very big demand zone for you guys. I talked about how there was this demand zone around, not demand zone, I'm sorry, resistance zone around like 920 to 940. Tesla was trading here and it got a rejection off that, right? So now we're trying to push up again. We didn't make it to 925. We didn't make it to 940. We're not as strong. And now we're like dropping from here. So it looks like we're going to continue to see some downside. And the next key level I'm looking out for is to see how Tesla responds to 858. I want to see how this thing responds. I don't think it's going to hold for tomorrow. It looks more like it's going to come all the way down to this 840 to 830 zone. And I do see this as a very key zone for Tesla. Can I guarantee this is going to hold? The answer is no. But I do think it is very possible for Tesla to actually touch this within the next couple of days. And I am essentially predicting that. So just to give you guys more context, if I hide my drawings just real quick, let me hide my drawings. If you look at the daily chart on Tesla, look at these candles. They're not looking too strong. We first had this relatively big red candle that we saw on Friday. And then for Monday, if you see this, we have a long wick, which shows the thing tried to push up. We got a rejection and another pretty bearish looking candle again on the daily. So is it really bad? I'm not saying Tesla's going to the 700s or Tesla's going to crash, but I do see this thing dropping a few percentage points. I see this thing dropping all the way to maybe like the 830, 840 zone very, very soon. That is essentially what my target is for this thing to drop to. And now let me just draw out what could end up happening tomorrow. So this is the part where you should really take this with a grain of salt, because it's very difficult to predict price action perfectly. But let me just show you what could end up happening. So let me adjust my chart. Let me try to get this to fit in really well. And I highlighted the key support and resistance levels. So just to remind you guys, if we do get a breakout, 880 is going to be a very key resistance level. And if we break past that, the 900 is going to be another one. And the 920 range would have been one, but we're not showing as much strength. So the 915 is where this thing could get rejected if it somehow does push up. But I find that pretty unlikely. Seems more likely like we're going to test the support zones. So 858, 840, and 830 are the really key zones I'm looking out for. And that those could be the zones where we get those bounces. So let me actually draw this out once I get this to look right. So what could happen tomorrow into open is I'm anticipating we're going to see a very volatile drop, and we're going to test 858. I want to see if this thing could hold it. I don't think it's going to hold it too perfectly. And with that said, I see this thing coming all the way down to 840. And once this thing touches 840, I'm anticipating it's going to bounce for some time. And it may end up like kind of trading in this range for some time. If we're getting a bit of a rejection, and coming all the way down to the 830 range. Now, is it possible for Tesla to drop even lower? The answer is yes. But as of right now, I'm not necessarily saying that. I do think we're going to see some buyers kind of step in. So I am anticipating it should hold this range for some time. I don't think it's going to drop even like much harder than that. But as of right now, I'm seeing it kind of trading like this and kind of closing in the red from here. So the 830, 840 zone is what I'm essentially looking out for. But if that doesn't hold, if it's even more bearish, which is also a possibility, then the next key level I'd be looking out for is the very low 800s. It's very possible. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that that's going to happen because it has been holding up a little bit better than some people would have expected. So I think it's more likely to stay in this zone right here and maybe get a close around that 850, maybe 840 level, somewhere like that. So I'm anticipating a bit of a red day for tomorrow for the markets. But after CPI comes out, we could see a nice improvement if the data allows that. So it's also dependent on how the market responds to the data. That's another factor because even if the data is like good looking, it doesn't guarantee the whole market's going to rally. Sometimes the market could act very, very strange. But I am anticipating a pretty decent CPI report as we did see gas prices drop by some margin and inflation did seem to kind of cool off for the month of July, just as Elon Musk suspected. So until after Wednesday, I still think the market has a little bit of a drop to come. But after Wednesday, after the data comes out, I think things should improve. And eventually Tesla is going to make a slight comeback after that. But until then, be ready for downside for tomorrow. I mean, I know you guys don't like to hear that. And after that, I'm going to actually do some more technical analysis. So the last thing I want to do for you guys is if you look at the 2 hour candles and I actually bring up some very important indicators out there, like the MACD and the RSI, you can see right now we got a crossover on the MACD on the 2 hour, and it's starting to actually drop a bit. RSI is showing some a bit of a drop right here as well, and it's actually kind of like highly correlated with the chart. So it's not necessarily bearish divergence, but it is dropping down too, looking kind of bearish. Now, I want to look at something else that's very interesting. That's the MACD on the daily chart. Okay, so notice this right here. On the daily, we got this nice crossover. The strength was building up. We went to the overbought territory, and the bars were very, very nice. But notice this right here. These histograms are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and Tesla's starting to kind of fade away just slightly. So I am anticipating tomorrow we're going to get a crossover between the MACD and the signal line, which is the 9-day moving average. I'm anticipating a bit of a crossover right here. I really believe that this crossover is going to lead Tesla to dropping even more. Like I said before, 830 to 840 is the key zone, and I do think it's possible for it to drop lower, but I'm not saying it as of right now. So that's essentially what I see happening to Tesla. RSI is starting to diminish too. So it's looking pretty bearish right now for tomorrow in anticipation of CPI. Now, despite the fact that Tesla may drop for the short term, the long term is still very bright based off the things Elon Musk was talking about. So just a reminder, Musk tweeted that the full self-driving beta 10.69 drops on 8/20, which is going to be the 20th of August. Once again, he mentioned this release is going to be big. So be ready for this. This could be very amazing. And I can't wait for that as well, as we're seeing many improvements from the full self-driving technology. Musk also tweeted this right here. Gary Black stated that probably the four most important charts from a fundamental standpoint that show Tesla can grow volumes at 50+% for the foreseeable future. So, very important in these charts. I'm not going to go into the full details about them. I want to actually talk more about what Elon Musk mentioned. And this is what's even more important. Elon Musk said growing 50% a year requires an insane amount of work, but is achievable with outstanding execution. So, with that said, I do believe in what Musk is implying here. I do believe Tesla could reach the 50% a year target that they have. That means that they should get around 1.4 to 1.5 million deliveries for the year, maybe even more than that. And it's going to really require them to ramp up Q2. And I really believe that's what the plan is. That's what they implied during the annual shareholder meeting. And I do see some very, very nice things to come for its future. Now, with that said, let me see if I can actually zoom into this just as an example. You could see we're seeing very good data aggregated by EV volumes from the registrations, and it's just growing and growing and growing in the market on a daily basis. We're just seeing EVs skyrocket. Now, one of the things that I wanted to actually mention is the fact that the share of the global passenger vehicle market, it's dropping a bit for Tesla. It dropped a little bit right here, and it's most likely going to increase into Q3 because I think Tesla's going to have a pretty strong Q3. And the last data sets I wanted to look at, I think it's this one right here. We could see Tesla's share of the BEV passenger vehicles globally. It's also dropping. It dropped a bit right here. It should actually come up a bit as well. But in my honest opinion, I think that there's such a big EV company that their share is actually going to diminish in the future because other big companies are going to be producing just as many EVs going forward as well. It is the uncomfortable truth, but that is going to happen. But I'm not necessarily too worried about the competition. I'm more concerned about what is Tesla itself doing, right? What is Tesla doing to actually improve their own deliveries? And that's the best way to look at it, no matter how others try to twist these things. So with that said, I think Tesla is going to be very, very amazing for the long-term future. I think right now it's not much compared to what it's going to be, but for the short term, specifically tomorrow, I do anticipate some downside here and there. There's no such thing as a stock that's green every single day. In fact, that's not even healthy. So it's a-okay. Pay attention to your indicators, pay attention to the key levels, and just remember the long-term future is still incredibly bright. Tesla has big dates coming, such as AI Day 2.0. I'm excited, so stay calm, cool, and collected, and I'll most definitely see you guys in the next video. Tesla to the moon, because the long-term future is still very, very bright, and peace out.